What's up everybody, Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. Today I'm going to be talking about the X-Men and what series should you be reading, and if you have to read them all and all of those different kinds of things. In case you don't already know, recently the X-Men kind of had like a soft reboot in the Marvel Universe thanks to Jonathan Hickman, who came in and wrote this really great series with, actually it was two different series, the House of X and Powers of X. And like I said, today guys, I'm going to talk about what each of these books is kind of covering and if you need to follow each one. Now, right off the bat, I did have a viewer here on the channel ask, if, he's reading X-Men, does he have to read all the other X book titles, and which ones, if so, which ones are the ones to read? And today I'm going to give you guys my ranking list of exactly what ones you'll probably want to read, all from the ones with highest importance to the least importance. I'm going to give you a breakdown on exactly what ones are out there. Now, in case you don't already know, the titles that we have out there, there was 6 of them that have released since the House of X and Powers of X came to an end. There's X-Men, there's Marauders, there's Excalibur, there's New Mutants, X-Force, and Fallen Angels. Okay, so now I'm going to give you guys my ranking list of exactly what ones you need to read. Now, if you ask me, I don't think that you necessarily have to read every single one of these series, but, if you're, just a normie or something like that, you're just getting into this, I would suggest going out and reading them. At most, you're probably buying 2 books a week. So they're making quite a push here. Now, I honestly don't know that all of these series are going to be, continue to be ongoing, or if they're going to end after 6, 12 issues, 10 issues. It's really hard to say, and I'm going to give you some of the reasons that I feel that that they may not be, lasting, just hanging around for too long. Now, the first and most important one I'd say you probably need to read if you're going to be into this stuff is X-Men. This series so far, this one's actually being written by Jonathan Hickman. This series so far, it's really just giving us a lot of, just interactions with Scott Summers and his family, and just, just how they're all interacting with, with his kids, from young Cable to, just all of his family, really, just some really odd things going on here. But I noticed that it's setting up a lot of exactly what's going on in a lot of the other books. But there are definitely some big things at play in the X-Men title. If you're going to read any one of them, I would say that the X-Men is it. Now, if you're going to read any of the other tie-ins and not read X-Men, you might be a little bit lost when it comes to certain things. But I can tell you, issue number 1 certainly set up a lot of things that are going on throughout every single one of these series. Now, the next one that I want to talk about here, I would say is probably of high importance, is X-Force. Now, this one right here, the first issue of this was wow. It was, which is this issue right here, had a lot of stuff going on in this one. This is the second one that I would suggest if you want to read more than just one title, which the most important being X-Men. I would say this is the next title that I would prioritize on your pull list. And this one right here, like I said, the first issue had some major things going on in here, but what we see is this one seems to be more about the humans fighting back against the mutants and the nation state of Krakoa. I think there's a lot at stake in this particular book, and I don't know, that's just me. Just going by off of what was set up in this first issue. And in case you guys didn't read it, I do have a playlist that I'll probably list somewhere here. You can go click on that and learn more about each one of these series. But this one right here, I would say, is probably the next major player that you're going to want to read. And this one's actually being written by Benjamin Percy. And I gotta say, this book right here, I really liked how this one was written, and it seems like it's got a lot more of those strong narrative threads they're going to be playing throughout the rest of these books as well. Definitely one of the better ones. So far, like I said, we've got X-Men that you need to read, and then after that would be X-Force. The next one I would say that it's probably of importance is New Mutants. Now, this one is being written by Ed Brisson and Jonathan Hickman both. And the art is by Rod Reis, and you know Rod Reis' work if you've ever seen it. This one right here, I would say, is probably the third one of importance, as it seems like there is some things going on in here. Like, this book seemed like a lot of silliness going on in it, but I think there was a lot of things also that really set up a lot of, that's going to be setting up a lot of narrative threads that are going to play throughout most of these books as well. What we have is a new band of mutants coming together, and they all went into space on this seemingly just odd and silly mission to take their friend some coffee. But one thing that they had in tow before they got stranded in Shi'ar on a Shi'ar space station called the Benevolence was, the one of them, they've got a Krakoan gateway flower with them. So I think that's going to be playing some important stuff going on in the near future with all of these series. And like I said, I think this one is probably the third one on your list of importance going forward in all of these X-Men spin-off series. Now the next one, and I've got reasons, these last three, I have a feeling I just don't see them being ongoing series for like a really long time, and I could absolutely be wrong here. Maybe they'll spin off into other series, maybe two of them will combine into one. I don't know. 6 titles for X-Men seems to be an awful lot to keep up with, and that's why I think some of these last 3 aren't as important to read, but do have key things in them that are going to be going forward. And the first one, the third one, I would say that you need to be following is Excalibur, or is that, this is the fourth one. This is the fourth one of importance, I would say, is Excalibur. Now this one right here seems to deal a little bit more with the Braddock family. We see Betsy Braddock is basically, she almost got trapped in Otherworld, while her brother, Brian Braddock, did get trapped in Otherworld by Morgan Le Fay. He's basically under her, basically having to serve her at this point since she's in charge of Underworld. And Betsy Braddock basically took on the mantle of Captain Britain, and which kind of plays into another story that's going on, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So this one right here, it seems like what they're trying to do is, it seems like what's going on in this book is we're seeing how basically Krakoa and mutants starting to flourish again on the Earth is affecting other worlds, because what affects one has the opposite effect, or maybe not necessarily the opposite effect, but has another effect on other world, kind of like a yin and yang thing going on. And I think that's what's going to be going on in this book. Again, I don't know that this one's going to have some important stuff going on in it, I think, but I think this one, like I said, is probably the fourth on your list of books that you need to be reading. But again, there's some pretty interesting things going on in this book. Now, the next one I would say of fifth importance is Marauders issue, I guess the Marauders series. Now this one is being written by Jerry Dugan, pretty good writer. He's been writing the Savage Avengers, but that's neither here nor there. Now in this book right here, what we're seeing, and this is why I don't know that this one is going to continue going on for like a really long time, aside, along with Excalibur, is what we see here is we got Kate Pryde, who is in charge of a group of mutants who are going throughout the world to bring mutants to the nation state of Krakoa because they have been denied access to the gateways. And, there's some of the nations who basically went along with recognizing Krakoa as its own nation state just so they could get the drugs to help them, for the longevity and to heal themselves and things like that. But they're, they went along with it, but they're not allowing their people to basically access the gates. So you can see that they're still fighting back here. And I think some of what's going on in this one is going to spill over into what's going on in the X-Force series. But this one right here is interesting because what we see here is Kate Pryde is also in charge of basically smuggling some of these drugs, these mutant drugs, to the humans out there into the black market, because they know that that's something that's going to be happening, is people are going to get a hold of these drugs and probably be selling them for higher prices or whatnot in the black market, and they want to control that. So interesting things going on here, but again, I don't know that this book is necessarily has the importance and the weight of something that's going to be, like I said, largely important going forward in the series. But again, I did like this book. Don't get me wrong. It's not that it's not a good book, but I think that this one, it may not continue on for a whole lot of issues, and its importance, while it has some things, important things going on in there, I'm not sure that it's going to be one of those ones that you absolutely need to know everything that's going on in it. Now, the last one, the sixth one on my ranking list, is Fallen Angels. Okay, now this book right here, guys, I gotta say was surprisingly good. I didn't think this book was gonna be as good as it is. Now this one I would say is probably on the bottom of the list of ones that I would say that you need to read. For one, we just got Psylocke here, which is the Quanon version of Psylocke, which she does have a run-in with Betsy Braddock in this book as well. But she is basically not content on on Krakoa, as well as the team of people that she picks up. She picks up, picks this group of warriors who are going to go out there, and they're trying to put an end to these drugs that are out there on the market that are like these techno-biological drugs out there that people are using, just basically making out of spare computer parts. And like I said, she has some strong family connections of things that are going on in this book. And like I said, we can see that this biotechnology is something that I think is like a larger problem overall with all this stuff that's going on with the mutants and the humans and everything all together. But again, this one right here just seems like it has a storyline that, while it has some important things going on, it doesn't seem like it's going to have like the an everlasting effect where these three people, these three characters, which are Psylocke, X-23, and Young Cable, all just coming together to fight back against this technological hacker, I guess you could say, called Apoth. I just don't know that this one is going to be a book that's going to have those everlasting effects, those resounding things that's going to make it be a continuously ongoing series. But again, I could be absolutely wrong. So again, guys, those are my lists of books in order of importance that I think you guys should be reading. Again, like I said, at the top of the list is X-Men. This one I would say is definitely a must read if you're going to follow all of these books. Then after that, I would say is going to be X-Force. You're definitely going to want to read that one if you're reading X-Men. These two, I would say, are the most important. Then after that, I would say, if you're going to pull a third one, definitely go with New Mutants. I think these three are going to be the core of the books going forward that are going to have most of the things going forward. And these last three, like I said, they just don't seem to have that everlasting thing that's going to have important stuff in them continuously going forward. I think these are going to be your core three right here, guys. And then after that, I would say is Excalibur, just because some of the things that are going on in there and how it's affecting the other world. Marauders right here, again, a story that seems like once we get through the first handful of issues, may not have such a big importance and impact on the whole world overall. And then falling in number 6 place is Fallen Angels. Guys, that's just my ranking. I could totally be wrong, okay? But this is, if you ask me, the order of importance and, what ones you should be reading. And do you have to read them all? Absolutely not. Again, you will, any good writer is going to kind of tell you what happened in the other books. Just get you a little bit of information so you can continue reading these series. But let me know down in the comments below, guys, what do you think of this ranking list of X titles that you should be watching? Let's discuss it down in the comments below. That's all I have for this video today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. Now, if you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed and click that little bell so you get notifications anytime I've uploaded new content. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't like it, feel free to give it a thumbs down. It's all good. I don't take it personal. But while you're at it, make sure that you share it with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel. You all have a very good day. Have a great rest of your week. Happy reading. Let's talk down in the comments below, and we'll see you all in the next video. Later.